The next morning, there has been yet another change of tractors. Unfortunately, the Fendt 512C has suffered an engine problem, so Angus's 1991 John Deere 4955 has taken over drilling duties, joining John's 1993 example and the Lamborghini. It's not often you see two 4955s working together in the same field. A couple of hours later, and the Fendt 614 is back on the other plough again. The land is drying out nicely in the sun, and both tractors are getting along relatively well. Although Jonathan now has considerably more power to play with, he's still travelling at a similar speed with the power harrow and drill, giving it time to break up the shiny furrows.
So we're back out again today. You'll notice a few differences. We've got the 614 back on the plough. We're on fairly fresh lifted. This was lifted yesterday, and we've actually had a period of more than 4 minutes without rain. So we've had a good dry out today. Diff locks aren't really needed as much as they were. It's going a hell of a lot better. Each end of the field is quite gnarly. I think we had the mouse heap here. This was failed rape, so it was quite run on anyway. We've put the 49 on the drill. I was in low range, so flipped the collar down on the 512, and I was in 5th, so the highest end, so 6 doesn't work in low. So I was in 5. I was getting, occasionally I'll get into 4, mostly in 2 and 3. And it was working it really well. The only problem was at the ends when it was really gnarly. First wasn't quite low enough. Just needed to go first -1. So obviously the 49 with the full power shift gives me that flexibility. I've got more power, but I haven't necessarily, I can't get on harder. I do notice it has got more power, but it's not really needed. Like the 512, the boss of the drill, is doing a good job. 512 actually probably a little bit nicer. Sit a bit better in the 512. 49 is obviously heavier, so you're working a little bit harder to pull out your wheel and you're counteracting the weight. It actually turns in better than the 512. It's got a better steering lock, the brakes are better on the John Deere than the Fendt. It lifts the drill a bit better, but you'd expect it to a big tractor like that. But it's going nicely. It's a bit, it's a high seed rate situation. It's important not to go too fast with the power harrow. You need the rotations per metre to get it knocked down as best we can. It's just a bit challenging. But it's nice to see a dry day. It really is nice to see a dry day. The Lambo and the 614 are looking really good together with the Dowdeswell.
For its size and weight, the Lamborghini pulls admirably well. Although 145 horsepower is standard, this one was recently tested and developed almost 160. Its transmission gives it 24 forward speeds and 12 reverse. The Favorit 614 was rated at 165 horsepower, but this one produces that at the PTO, with the engine estimated to be kicking out around 190. Its Turbomatic fluid clutch provides an element of speed variation and a smooth uptake of power to the 20-speed transmission. The sight of these three vastly different classics working together in the sun is definitely one of the highlights of this autumn.